Are you ready for some quotes? You said you liked that Boyer one.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good key quote.
This is good. See, I wrote that at the top.
Okay.
What I did was I changed...
That's Erickson, right? Where Erickson has the stage of industriousness.
Sage of stay on the stage.
With the sage
First
on.
guide of the side.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Here are some quotes that I found in the guide on the side.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see this one. Yeah.
Right.
That's right. The sage on the stage. They've got a website of 100 pages related to sage on the stage.
But you also follow it up. A good teacher knows when to act as sage on the stage and when to act as a guide on the side.
And that's the balance that I need, because I'm pushing so hard to be the guide on the side that I'm losing some of my students. That they need the dictator, they need the lecturer, because they
Notice what you said to me. He starts every class. So he prepares that. And he probably prepares what he knows also what he's handing out. So you don't do that in one day, and you don't get there in one day.
No. And he sees in a 10-lesson format, he lays out what the project's going to be and says, we're going to have this done by the end of next week. And so each little pep talk throughout that first week and the second week is geared towards getting the kids closer to completing that.
To the goal.
And you're doing this off of one handout. So it's not a photocopy-intensive environment. And, the typical teacher is photocopying a page, handing it out, and that's the work for that day. And you get 14 days of disconnected worksheets, whereas he's integrating it. And in a 2-week project, he's got his speech for each morning. And that's something that can be copied.
Yeah.
So I see the progression of people read, the student is the class, they read the quote book, and then they say, okay, well, how do we implement projects? And then hand out...
He's a good guy. He's a good guy to get some stuff from.
Right. Hand out DVDs of interviews with, and videos of Eusenis in the classroom.
You got money to travel? Small amount?
Small amount, and time, possibly. We're a 12-month school. But we've got 3 teachers in the classroom. So during the time I'm out, there's still 2 teachers in the classroom.
I know.
Yeah.
But you got 50 kids.
They'll survive while I'm out. Where are you heading? Where are you sending me? Where do you think I should go?
I'd like you to go with your mind to the Tracy School.
Tracy. Right.
But before you go, I want you to talk to Keith Larrick on the telephone. Tell him what you're doing. And tell him you know me.
Well, by then, we'll have the book out. I don't see this as a long book. We've already got 14 quotes in your commentaries on those. So we could just choose maybe 3 or 4 more here, and that would be enough. I mean, people want more, they go to your big book. They can go to the blog.
There's quotes that you got intermixed in here.
Mm-hmm.
I happen Education is not filling up a pail, but rather the lighting of a fire. Okay, that's what he's doing with those little things before he sets them out.
Lighting fires.
And then it says, most students forget what you taught them, but they will always remember how you treated them. It's an interesting little thing.
That's that life skills. That's that non-academic portion.
And then you got this little quote by Jack Taub. Jack dropped out of school to avoid terminal boredom. I never let school get in the way of my education. You got to know him. That's him. Dropped out of school in the 8th grade. Got the federal government to sell stamps for him through the post offices. That's so dumb, huh? Not so dumb. Every first edition that they sold, he got money. Not so dumb. He created a utility concept. A utility. That's why he hasn't done anything. That's why he really hasn't been able to penetrate. He sees the computer like, what's his name, saw electricity.
Oh, Edison?
Edison. He called it an education utility at one time. Now he calls it amigos.
It's a friend? An amigo?
That's what he calls it.
All right.
But he was saying he wants a student to be able to turn a switch and get what that student needs when the student wants it. Think about, from the utility concept, I came in this morning, I turned on those lights. I don't give a shit where it's coming from, but I needed the lights. That's the utility.
You didn't turn it on and then have to wait.
That's the utility.
You didn't turn it on, you get green light.
However I got it. It's here. That's what he wants this to become in education, a utility. Kid goes in, turns on the computer, logs on, gets what he needs.
Right now, he's turning it on and he's getting what I say he needs.
That's correct. That's correct. He wants it the other way. Programmed by what the student has left to be done.
Mm-hmm. He's put in his goals. This is what I did yesterday. What do I do today?
So it comes up. It doesn't let you go over there first. Mm-hmm. Goes up.
You're wanting to become an astronaut? You should be studying this today, because this will lead you to this, which will lead you to where you're headed.
That's correct.
And the teacher comes along and says, oh, you're on task, even though his screen looks different than the other kids.
That's why he needs that kind of money. That's where we've been arguing. That's when I read this other book that you gave me to read, which said, if you want to change public education, you can't change it one school at a time. That's why that's all failed. And I wrote Jack and I said, you know, I read this book and you may be right, I may be wrong. I said, because you want to change all of public education. I'm willing to settle for one loaf. But yet if you look at Nova, it really changed higher education.
Mm-hmm.
But
you changed one institution and everybody else followed it.
That's correct, which I didn't realize would happen. I thought they'd leave me alone for 50 years.
Instead, you were a threat, so they copied you.
For some reason.
Or, yeah, you guys are making money. Hey. So if we could get public schools to make money by following these models.
Tracy pays teachers $80,000. Think about that. Charter school that's able to pay $80,000.
I bet they do a lot of training before the person's worth that. Because you've got to deliver more than the typical teacher does.
Well, the organization and structure enables you to do that. It enables you to do that.
So maybe he's able to put
By the
his
way,
system.
it's not all computer-assisted instruction. It's not all computer-mediated instruction.
In this age of YouTube, where people look at something and then copy. I mean, my students have seen these French people who jump from the top of a building to a balcony to a balcony to an edge to, it's called extreme expeditioning or something like that, urban expeditioning, and they get down to the ground. And then it's like Spider-Man, they're just jumping all over these places. They're using a corner for a momentary launch to then get to the balcony, and then they hoist themselves up. Kids are copying this over in LA because of what they saw on the YouTube. Could a similar transformation take place through imitation by having teachers watch other teachers, administrators watch other administrators?
Sure. We learn a lot through imitation. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Yeah, we learn a lot through imitation.
And essentially that's what happened to Phoenix exists because Nova exists. Phoenix University, University of Phoenix.
They'll not admit that.
Oh, no. But, I mean, that's got to be what's inside your head when you see these advertisements of online learning.
See, here's an illustration that you gave me just now, worded differently. The greatest sign of success for a teacher is to be able to say the children are now working as if I did not exist. Marie Montessori. Let's create people who are capable of doing new things, not simply of repeating what other generations have done. Piaget. The goal is to gradually transfer responsibility for learning to the student. John Gardner. Yes, I wrote after some of them.
I put these up on the wall, and that's the first thing my language school students, that they're in for 3 weeks. I only have them for 15 meetings. I've got to set a stage so that they know that it's not going to be a lecture class, that I expect projects out of them, and I want each of them doing something that matters to them.
Is that what you did?
This is what I do. I put these quotes up on the wall.
What are you going to tell the students? What is your expertise? But teaching is really about bringing out what's really inside others.